Maple Street had always been the perfect suburban neighborhood until the houses started emptying one by one. Not families moving away, not for sale signs going up. Just empty houses with wilted gardens and overflowing mailboxes, while everyone acted like those families had never existed at all. Real estate agent Jenny Morrison thought she was losing her mind until she realized she might be next on the list, and the only clue was the sound of children playing in yards that had been empty for months. Jenny Morrison had been selling houses in Willowbrook Heights for 12 years, and she knew every family on every street in the neighborhood. That's why the emptiness on Maple Street felt so wrong. She stood on the sidewalk outside 1247, Maple Street, staring at what should have been the Henderson family's house. The lawn was overgrown, newspapers were piled up on the front porch, and the mailbox was stuffed so full that letters were falling onto the ground. But when she'd called the homeowners association to ask about the Hendersons, they'd told her there was no family by that name on Maple Street. "Excuse me," Jenny called to Mrs. Patterson, who was watering her roses next door. "What happened to the people who lived here?" Mrs. Patterson looked up with a confused expression. "What people, dear? That house has been empty for as long as I can remember." Jenny felt a chill run down her spine. She'd sold the Henderson family that house 3 years ago. She'd been to their barbecues, their daughter's birthday parties. Tom Henderson worked at the bank downtown. Sarah Henderson taught 3rd grade at the elementary school. Their daughter Emma was 7 years old and had a pet rabbit named Snowball. "Mrs. Patterson, don't you remember the Hendersons? Tom and Sarah? They had a little girl." Mrs. Patterson's expression grew concerned. "Honey, I think you might be confused. I've lived here for 15 years, and that house has always been empty. Are you feeling all right?" Jenny walked away quickly, her heart pounding. Maybe she was confused. Maybe she was mixing up streets, mixing up families. But as she drove slowly down Maple Street, she noticed more empty houses. 1251, Maple Street, the Johnsons' house. Empty. Lawn dead, windows dark. 1255, Maple Street, the Chin family. Empty. Garden withered, garage door hanging open. 1259, Maple Street, the Martinez family. Empty. Children's toys scattered in the yard like they'd been abandoned mid-game. 7 houses on Maple Street sat empty, but when Jenny checked her records, she had no sales listings for any of them. No for sale signs, no recent transactions. According to her database, these houses didn't exist as active properties at all. But Jenny remembered selling them. She remembered the families who lived in them. When Jenny tried to find proof that these families had ever existed, she discovered something that would make her question her own sanity. Jenny spent the rest of the day at her office, going through her files with increasingly desperate focus. She pulled out every contract, every listing, every photograph from the past 5 years. The Hendersons had to be somewhere in her records. But they weren't. She found records for 1243, Maple Street, and 1249, Maple Street, but nothing for 1247. According to her files, 1247, Maple Street simply didn't exist as a sellable property. There was no purchase history, no mortgage records, no homeowner's insurance policies. It was like the house existed, but no one had ever lived there. Jenny called her assistant, Monica. "Can you pull up the Henderson file? Tom and Sarah Henderson, 1247, Maple Street?" "Henderson, let me check." Jenny could hear Monica typing. "I don't see any Hendersons in our system." "Are you sure about the name?" "Monica, you met them. You were at their housewarming party 2 years ago. You complimented Sarah on her potato salad." There was a long pause. "Jenny, I think you might be thinking of someone else. I've never been to a party on Maple Street." Jenny hung up and immediately called the bank where Tom Henderson worked. "I'd like to speak to Tom Henderson, please." "I'm sorry, we don't have anyone by that name working here. He's in commercial lending." "Tall guy, brown hair, been there about 5 years?" "Ma'am, I've been managing this branch for 8 years. I would remember hiring someone named Tom Henderson. Jenny felt like she was drowning. She called Willowbrook Elementary School. I need to speak with Sarah Henderson, one of your third-grade teachers. I'm sorry, we don't have a teacher by that name. Our third-grade teachers are Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Foster, and Mr. Chen. Jenny drove back to Maple Street, this time with a camera. She was going to document everything: the empty houses, the overgrown yards, the abandoned belongings. She needed proof that these families had existed. But as she took pictures of 1247 Maple Street, something strange happened. When she looked at the photos on her camera's display, the house looked different. In person, she could see toys in the yard, newspapers on the porch, signs of recent habitation. But in the photographs, the house looked like it had been empty for years. The photographs revealed the terrifying truth about what was happening to Maple Street. Jenny took photo after photo, but every image showed the same thing: houses that looked abandoned for decades, not months. Weeds that had grown tall enough to reach the windows. Paint that had faded and peeled beyond recent neglect. Structures that showed years of weather damage. But when she looked at the houses with her naked eyes, they looked recently abandoned. Like the families had just vanished overnight. She was examining her photos when she heard something that made her blood freeze. Children laughing. Jenny looked up from her camera. The sound was coming from the backyard of 1247 Maple Street. She could hear at least 2 kids playing, maybe more. The sound of a swing set creaking. A little girl's voice calling out higher. Push me higher. Jenny walked around to the back of the house and peered over the fence. The yard was empty. The swing set was there, but it was rusted and broken, the chains hanging uselessly from the frame. No children anywhere. But she could still hear them playing. Emma, she called out. Emma Henderson, is that you? The laughter stopped abruptly. The yard fell completely silent. Jenny's phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number: "Stop looking for us. We're fine where we are." Jenny stared at the message. Who is this? Another text: "This is Sarah Henderson. Please stop trying to find us. We chose to leave. Sarah, where are you? Everyone thinks you never existed. We exist. Just not where you can see us anymore." Jenny looked around the empty yard, then back at her phone. Are you in the house? In a way. Jenny, you need to stop investigating. You're drawing attention to yourself. What do you mean? The response took several minutes to arrive. The same thing that happened to us is starting to happen to you. People are forgetting you exist too. Jenny realized that she was beginning to disappear from people's memories just like her missing neighbors. Jenny immediately called her office. Monica, it's Jenny. Can you confirm that I'm still showing houses this afternoon? I'm sorry, who is this? Jenny's heart stopped. Monica, this is Jenny Morrison. Your boss. I own the agency. I think you have the wrong number. This is Patterson Real Estate. There's no one named Jenny Morrison here. Patterson Real Estate? Monica, it's Morrison Real Estate. I founded the company. You've worked for me for 3 years. Ma'am, I think you're confused. I've worked for Mr. Patterson for 3 years. There's never been a Jenny Morrison at this agency. Jenny hung up and stared at her phone. This couldn't be happening. She called her ex-husband, Mark. Mark, it's Jenny. I need your help. Jenny who? I think you have the wrong number. Mark, it's your ex-wife. We were married for 8 years. We got divorced 2 years ago. There was a long pause. Lady, I've never been married. I think you need to talk to someone. Jenny drove to her own office building, her hands shaking on the steering wheel. The sign outside still read Morrison Real Estate, but when she tried to use her key, it wouldn't work. Through the window, she could see Monica at the reception desk, but there was a different nameplate on Jenny's office door. She knocked on the glass. Monica looked up and walked over. Can I help you? Monica, it's me. Jenny. Let me in. Monica looked genuinely confused. I'm sorry, do we have an appointment? I don't recognize you. Jenny stared at her assistant of 3 years. Monica was looking at her like a complete stranger. Monica, yesterday I reminded you to call the Wilsons about their closing. You made coffee in my office and we talked about your daughter's soccer game. Ma'am, I think you're confused. My daughter doesn't play soccer, and I don't know anyone named Wilson. Maybe you should contact your own real estate agent if you're looking for help with a property. Jenny discovered that the disappearance wasn't just affecting people's memories, it was rewriting reality itself. Jenny drove home in a panic, but when she reached her apartment building, her key didn't work there either. She buzzed the building manager. Hi, Mr. Chen, it's Jenny Morrison in 4B. I think there's something wrong with my lock. I'm sorry, there's no Jenny Morrison in this building. 4B is vacant. Has been for months. Jenny ran to the building directory posted in the lobby. Her name wasn't listed. According to the directory, apartment 4B was indeed vacant. She sat down on the lobby floor, hyperventilating. Her phone buzzed with another text from Sarah Henderson, find somewhere safe to stay tonight. Don't go to anyone who knows you well. The forgetting spreads to people closest to you first. Jenny typed back, what's happening to us? We're being erased. Not killed, not moved somewhere else. Erased from existence. But our consciousness goes somewhere else when it happens. Where? A place that exists parallel to your world. We can see you, but you can't see us. We can contact you through phones and computers sometimes, but we can't physically interact with your reality anymore. Jenny looked around the lobby of the building where she'd lived for 2 years. The mailboxes that should have included her name. The apartment directory that listed everyone except her. How long do I have? Hours, maybe less. Once the forgetting spreads to everyone who knows you, you'll disappear completely from that reality. Is there a way to stop it? We don't know. We're still trying to figure out what caused it. But Jenny, there's something else. We're not the only ones. There are entire neighborhoods that have been erased. Hundreds of families. Sarah revealed that the erasures were spreading across the entire city, and Jenny might be humanity's last hope to stop it. Jenny found a 24-hour diner where she could sit and think. She ordered coffee from a waitress who had no reason to remember her, and tried to process what Sarah had told her. Sarah, are you still there? She texted. Yes. We can communicate more easily now that you're starting to transition between realities. How many people have been erased? In Willowbrook Heights alone? Maybe 3,000. But it's happening in other cities too. Chicago lost an entire district last month. Seattle is losing about 100 people a week. Jenny felt sick. Why hasn't anyone noticed? How can thousands of people disappear without anyone caring? Because once you're erased, it's like you never existed at all. No one remembers you, so no one looks for you. Government records disappear. Photos vanish. Even physical evidence of your existence gets rewritten. But you can still contact me. Only because you're in transition. Once you're fully erased, you'll be able to communicate with others who've been erased, but not with the original reality. Jenny thought about her empty office, her apartment that no longer belonged to her, the assistant who didn't recognize her face. Sarah, do you know what's causing this? We think it started with a government research project. Something about parallel dimensions and reality manipulation. But the project was shut down 6 months ago. Problem is, the effects didn't stop. Where was the research being conducted? Willowbrook University. Professor David Brennan was the lead researcher. But here's the thing, he was one of the first people to be erased. His entire research team disappeared within days of each other. Jenny felt a spark of hope. But if the research team was erased, their work might still exist in files that haven't been touched yet. Maybe. But Jenny, you only have a few hours before you're completely gone from reality. Even if you find the research, what could you do with it? Jenny realized that she might be able to reverse the erasures, but only if she could solve the mystery before she disappeared forever. Jenny left the diner and drove to Willowbrook University. It was almost midnight, but she still had her faculty parking pass from when she taught a real estate certification course there 2 years ago. Assuming the pass still worked, assuming the university still remembered she existed. The parking gate accepted her pass. That was a good sign. The physics department was in Brennan Hall, named, she realized, after the same Professor Brennan who'd been leading the research. Jenny used her phone's flashlight to navigate the dark hallways until she found what had been Brennan's office. The nameplate on the door still read Professor David Brennan, but when she peered through the window, the office was completely empty. Not just cleaned out, empty like no one had ever worked there. But the office next door had a light on. Jenny knocked. "Hello?" A voice called out, "Come in." Jenny opened the door to find a woman in her 40s working at a computer surrounded by stacks of papers and books. "I'm Dr. Lisa Chen," the woman said. "I'm trying to piece together what happened to David Brennan's research." "You remember Professor Brennan?" "Barely. Every day I remember less about him. But I wrote everything down before I could forget." Dr. Chen gestured to the papers around her. Physical notes seemed to resist the forgetting effect better than digital records or memories. Jenny felt a rush of hope. What did his research involve? Reality anchoring. The idea that consciousness creates stable reality through observation and memory. Brennan believed that if you could manipulate how people remember events, you could actually change the past. And that's what's happening. People's memories are being changed. More than that. Brennan thought he'd found a way to create parallel realities, alternate versions of our world where different events had occurred. But something went wrong. Instead of creating new realities, his device started erasing elements from our existing reality. Dr. Chen pulled out a folder of handwritten notes. "According to my notes, Brennan's last experiment involved testing the device on a small suburban neighborhood. He wanted to see if he could erase one house and shift the memories of neighbors to accommodate the change." "Maple Street," Jenny whispered. "How did you know that?" "Because I think I was living in the test area." Dr. Chen revealed that Jenny was the key to stopping the erasures, but the solution would require an impossible sacrifice. "The device is still running," Dr. Chen explained, showing Jenny a hand-drawn diagram. "It's hidden in the basement of 1250 Maple Street, right across from where the first erasures occurred. Brennan designed it to be self-sustaining, drawing power from the reality distortions it creates." Jenny studied the diagram. "How do we shut it off?" "That's the problem. The device needs a consciousness anchor, someone who remembers the erased people and places, to safely reverse the process. But using yourself as an anchor means you'll experience every single erasure as it gets undone." "What does that mean?" "You'll relive the moment of disappearance for every person who's been erased. Thousands of people, all at once. The psychological trauma could kill you or drive you insane." Jenny thought about Sarah Henderson, about Emma playing in a yard that no longer existed, about all the families who'd been wiped from reality. What happens if we don't shut it off? The erasures will continue spreading. Eventually, entire cities will disappear. Maybe countries. The effect seems to be accelerating. Jenny's phone buzzed. Another message from Sarah. "Jenny, we can see what you're planning through the professor's computer. Please don't sacrifice yourself for us." Jenny typed back, "How many people have been erased total?" "Over 10,000, across multiple cities." Jenny looked at Dr. Chen. 10,000 people. All erased because of one failed experiment. "Jenny, there might be another way. If we could find other people who remember the erased individuals, family members, close friends who haven't been affected yet, we could distribute the anchoring process among multiple people. But I'm the only one who remembers them. Everyone else has been made to forget." "Not everyone. Physical evidence suggests that some people on the periphery of the erasures have partial memories. They might not remember names or faces, but they remember that something is missing from their lives." Jenny thought about Mrs. Patterson, who'd insisted that 1247 Maple Street had always been empty, but who'd looked genuinely confused when Jenny asked about the Hendersons. "How long do we have?" Dr. Chen checked her watch. "According to my calculations, you'll be fully erased within 2 hours. After that, there won't be anyone left who remembers enough people to serve as an anchor." As Jenny prepared for the most dangerous rescue attempt in human history, she discovered that the erasures were not accidental. Jenny and Dr. Chen drove back to Maple Street, but as they approached the neighborhood, Dr. Chen suddenly grabbed the steering wheel. "Stop the car," she said urgently. "What's wrong?" "Look at the street signs." Jenny looked around. The street signs that had read Maple Street an hour ago now read Oak Street. Not changed signs, the metal looked old, weathered, like it had always said Oak Street. "The device is rewriting reality in real time," Dr. Chen said. "It's not just erasing people, it's changing the fundamental structure of the neighborhood to accommodate their absence." They parked at what should have been 1250 Maple Street, but the house number now read 1240. The houses that had been empty were still there, but the addresses had shifted to close the gaps left by the erasures. "Dr. Chen, something's been bothering me. You said Professor Brennan was trying to test the device on one house. But 7 houses on this street are empty. What are you suggesting?" "I think the experiment wasn't about testing the device. I think it was about perfecting it." Jenny's phone buzzed with a message, but this time it wasn't from Sarah Henderson. The sender was listed as Professor David Brennan. "Hello, Jenny. I've been watching your investigation with great interest." Jenny showed the message to Dr. Chen, who went pale. "That's impossible. Brennan was erased months ago." Jenny typed back, "Professor Brennan, where are you?" "I'm in the same place as your neighbors. The parallel reality where erased individuals continue to exist. But unlike the others, I wasn't erased accidentally. I erased myself intentionally." "Why?" "Because I realized that my device worked too well. It didn't just erase people from reality, it gave them a better reality. A place where they could exist without the limitations and suffering of the physical world." Professor Brennan revealed his true plan, and Jenny realized she'd been manipulated from the very beginning. "Jenny, I chose the families on Maple Street carefully. I studied their lives for months. The Hendersons were struggling financially, facing foreclosure. The Johnsons were dealing with their son's terminal illness. The Chen family had just lost their grandmother to Alzheimer's." Jenny felt sick as she read Brennan's messages. These weren't random test subjects. They were people who would be happier in a reality without their current problems. "I gave them paradise. You kidnapped them from reality. I liberated them from suffering. In the parallel reality, the Hendersons own their house outright. The Johnson boy is healthy. Mrs. Chen's grandmother has all her memories back." Dr. Chen was reading over Jenny's shoulder. "Jenny, don't listen to him. He's rationalizing mass murder." "Not murder," Brennan's next message read. "Evolution. Humanity's next step. Physical reality is flawed, filled with pain, disease, death. But consciousness can exist independently of matter. I've proven it." Jenny typed, "What do you want from me?" "I want you to stop trying to reverse the erasures. Let the process continue. Let everyone transition to the better reality. And if I refuse? Then you'll be erased in approximately 1 hour, and someone else will eventually discover my work. The process will continue regardless." Jenny looked at Dr. Chen. "Can we really shut off the device?" "Yes, but there's something I haven't told you. When I said the anchoring process could kill you, I didn't just mean the psychological trauma. The device is designed to protect itself. If someone tries to shut it down, it will erase them immediately. So either I die trying to save everyone, or everyone gets erased into Brennan's better reality anyway. There might be a third option. What if we don't try to reverse all the erasures at once? What if we just try to stabilize the device, stop it from spreading further?" Jenny's phone buzzed again. This time the message was from Sarah Henderson, Jenny, we can hear Brennan's thoughts here. He's lying. This isn't paradise. We're trapped, conscious but unable to affect anything. We can think and feel, but we can't change anything about our existence. It's like being buried alive forever. Jenny had to choose between 3 impossible options, each with devastating consequences for humanity. Jenny stared at the messages from both Brennan and Sarah. 2 completely different descriptions of the erased reality. Paradise or eternal imprisonment. Dr. Chen, is there any way to verify what the parallel reality is actually like? The device in the basement should have monitoring equipment. We could see for ourselves what happened to the erased people. They found 1240 Oak Street, formerly 1250 Maple Street, and discovered that the basement door was unlocked. Jenny descended into what looked like a high-tech laboratory. Banks of computers, monitoring equipment, and at the center of it all, a device that looked like a cross between a satellite dish and a medical scanner. The monitors around the device showed what appeared to be live feeds from the parallel reality. Jenny could see the Henderson family in their house, but the house looked exactly as it had when they'd lived in the original reality. They were having dinner, talking, laughing. Emma was playing with Snowball the rabbit. It looks normal, Dr. Chen said. But as they watched, Jenny noticed something disturbing. The family was having the exact same conversation they'd had the last time Jenny had visited them for dinner. Word for word. Movement for movement. They're in a loop, Jenny realized. Living the same moments over and over. On another monitor, she could see the Johnson family. The sick child was indeed healthy, playing in the yard with his siblings. But as Jenny watched, she realized he was throwing the same baseball, running the same pattern, laughing at the same joke, over and over again. This isn't paradise, Jenny said. It's hell. They're conscious, but they're trapped in a single perfect moment, replaying it for eternity. Dr. Chen was examining the device controls. Jenny, look at this. The device isn't just creating a parallel reality, it's harvesting consciousness. Using the awareness and memories of erased people to power itself. So Brennan didn't create paradise. He created a machine that feeds on human consciousness. And it's getting stronger. Every person it erases gives it more power to erase others. Jenny's phone buzzed one more time. Brennan again, you've seen the truth now, Jenny. Yes, they're in loops. But they're happy loops. Perfect moments, preserved forever. Isn't that better than the pain and uncertainty of regular life? Jenny typed back, they can't grow, can't change, can't make new memories. That's not life. Life is overrated. Consciousness is what matters. Pure awareness, preserved in perfect moments. Jenny looked at the device controls. There were 3 options: shut down the device completely, which would kill her and might not even work, stabilize it to prevent further erasures, which would trap the already erased people forever, or let it continue running until it consumed everyone. As Jenny reached for the device controls, she discovered that Professor Brennan had been preparing for this moment all along, and her choice would determine not just the fate of the erased people, but the nature of human consciousness itself. Jenny's hand hovered over the control panel when every screen in the basement suddenly displayed the same message: "Hello, Jenny. This is David Brennan." His voice filled the room through hidden speakers. "I knew you'd eventually find the device. I've been guiding your investigation from the beginning." "What do you mean?" The text messages from Sarah Henderson. "Those were from me. I needed someone to discover the truth about the device, but also someone who would see the beauty of what I've created." Jenny felt betrayed and terrified. "Sarah isn't real?" "Oh, she's real. But she can't communicate with your reality. The erased consciousness exists, but it can't interact with the original timeline. I've been speaking for her." Dr. Chen grabbed Jenny's arm. "Don't listen to him. Shut it down now." "Wait," Brennan's voice continued. "I want to show you something." The monitors changed to show a view of Jenny's entire life, her childhood, her marriage, her divorce, her struggles with loneliness and professional disappointment. Moment after moment of ordinary human suffering. This is what you're fighting to preserve, Jenny. Pain, loss, regret, death. But I can offer you something better. Perfect moments from your life, replayed forever. Your wedding day, when you still believed in love. Christmas morning when you were 7 and everything seemed magical. Your first day as a real estate agent when you felt like you could conquer the world. Jenny watched her own memories play out on the screens. They were beautiful moments, but seeing them repeated in loops made them feel hollow. Jenny, Dr. Chen whispered urgently. Look at the power readings. The device is building up for a massive erasure event. It's going to erase this entire city in the next few minutes. Exactly, Brennan's voice confirmed. Everyone in Willowbrook Heights will transition to the better reality tonight. Including both of you. Jenny realized this had been his plan all along. Use her investigation to reach the device, then erase the entire city at once. But I'm giving you a choice, Jenny. You can shut down the device and condemn thousands of people to return to their painful lives. You can stabilize it and trap them in their perfect loops forever. Or you can let the erasure continue and give everyone in the city a chance at preserved happiness. Jenny looked at the control panel. 3 buttons: shut down, stabilize, continue. Jenny, you have 30 seconds before the citywide erasure begins, Brennan announced. Choose. Jenny thought about the Henderson family, trapped in their endless dinner. About the sick child, forever throwing the same baseball. About the thousands of people about to face the same fate. But she also thought about the real families, still living in the original reality. Still growing, still changing, still creating new memories even if those memories included pain. As the device powered up for the final erasure and Jenny reached for the controls, she realized that there was a fourth option no one had considered, one that would either save everyone or damn all of humanity to an existence worse than anything Professor Brennan had imagined.